I'm just a spontaneous kind of guy. I gotta live. If I believe I have to live, I gotta live life dangerously.
First, there was a snow ghost on top of a silver mountain. Now that ghost is your community host. A snow ghost wants to get the most out of you. 'Cause a better world begins with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, to my right, your left, the world's loudest talk show host, Bruce Snow Ghost Russell.
Thank you. I love you too.
Good evening, Worcester. Bruce, we're taping here in the busy Piedmont Street neighborhood of Worcester on Memorial Day weekend. What do you have to say to Piedmont?
Let's try to keep the peace over. Keep the peace over here, like it is right now.
It's a very peaceful day.
It is very nice and quiet.
There you go. There you go. So, what are we going to talk about on your show today?
My book. And I have one last statement about the Piedmont area.
What?
Some of us are dead to try to get some rest.
In Piedmont? There's no cemetery in Piedmont though, is there?
No, but
maybe there's an old Indian burial ground.
Yeah, it's barely possible.
Well, before we talk about your book, I wanted to read a piece of viewer mail. And if any viewers want to send us a message to the Snow Ghost Community Show, you can email Bruce at thesnowghost@gmail.com. You can post a comment on our blog at wccatv.com/snowghost, or you can call the special Snow Ghost hotline. And I don't remember what the phone number is, but I'll put it up on the screen right now so people can call that and leave a voice message that we can play on an upcoming show, an episode of the community show. For people who haven't seen the show before, could you tell them what your show's all about?
Let's just talk about different things, about the many things about the snow ghosts that people in there are aware of.
You also talk about the community?
Yes, we talk about the community and things that come across people's minds and crushes people might have and all that sort of stuff.
What do you think people are thinking about in the community today?
They're probably thinking what the snow ghost's going to do for the weekend.
It's gonna have a good time, hopefully.
Yeah, it's gonna have a snowy and a ghostly of a time.
Well, let me read this piece of viewer mail that we received. Comment on our first episode. Dear Bruce the Snow Ghost Show, I really liked your show. Having your guest talk about the Stooges was funny, and your sidekick had neat facts that he found on your computer. Your guest had a neat beard. I think he's talking about Scott Schaefer Duffy. Not enough guests on TV talk shows have beards. You have a beard, but you're the host and not a guest. If you were a guest on your own show or another show, that would be cool. More TV show guests should have beards. Also, the Stooges in the background was pretty cool. Was this because you shot the show in the studio? You should shoot a show in the studio. Or not. That's your choice, I guess. Anyway, in closing, I just want to say that I enjoyed your show and look forward to more episodes. P.S. If any of the Stooges have beards, you should have them as guests. Do you have a reply to the message?
Yeah, I tried to call them the other day after we did this first show about the Stooges, and they didn't really want to be disturbed.
The Stooges?
Yeah.
Are they resting in peace?
Yeah.
Good for them.
On my left is Cindy. We're going to talk a little bit about my book.
What's your book called?
Many Wisdoms Sayings of the Snow Ghost.
This isn't your first book, is it, Bruce?
No, it isn't.
How many books have you put out so far?
3.
This is your 3rd book.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And people can get this book. They can buy this at Worcester area stores, or they could go to archive.org/details/manywisdom and get a free copy off of the internet.
Well, Cindy's lives in the community, and her roommate is also lives in the community and works for the station as well.
Okay. Where do you know Cindy from?
When we played the show together at the ship room.
Your musical connections.
Right.
That was a good show, right?
Yeah, it was.
You had fun?
Yes, I did. Very original.
I also wanted to say that there's a bag down here that people can't see on the camera. What is it? What is in this bag?
A gift.
A gift from our sponsor, Happy Birthday Mike Leslie, to you. And we will
Present it to closer to the end. Or when the time is right.
I have to earn it.
you have to survive the show before you get the gift. That's
All
the
right.
way the show works.
Actually, you gotta survive after going through all this, the many wisdom of the snow ghost.
I think that's reward in itself.
All right, I think. Well, I'm a reward itself too.
So maybe you guys could go ahead and read through the book.
Should I read the part?
Sure, go ahead.
Top one. It all comes out in the pudding.
Should we move it or leave it there? Well, if we leave it there, we'll have to move it. And if we move it, we'll have to leave it there.
What can I ask you what that saying means, Bruce?
Yeah, it's back to the Catholic Worker House on Mason Street. Dave and I had this philosophy when we used to watch the movie there with Scott and Dave and some of the guests who happened to be there. And we always used to have to move the table like you do for Mass. And the question, and Dave came up with his question, should we move it or leave it there? And there's that question that remains like a classic today into the Mason Street household and around the community.
And the classic answer is that if we leave it there, we'll have to move it.
That's right.
And if we move it, we'll have to leave it there.
That's right.
That's a lot like life, Bruce.
That's right.
All
Life
right.
is only life could be that simple.
Okay. Well, thanks for answering my question. You guys can go ahead to the next one.
I wrote this song about this thing I saw in Matlock.
There aren't a lot of death metal songs about Matlock.
That's because there ain't a lot. That's because there aren't a lot of death metal songs about life.
It's like this, man. If God and the devil can rock out, why not lawyers?
Can you explain that? Can you explain that one?
Well, a lot of metal, and it's like you always hear about the devil, and then you got the Christian rock band Striper who writes about God. So they kind of go together.
What about the lawyers?
It's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing that I said, is because when I did the song for legal assistance, and somehow they just didn't want to use it, and I thought, well, this is what better way to fight fire with fire
than to have a quote about lawyers?
Yeah.
Do you want to play the legal assistance song right now on the show?
That's a good idea. It's a good song.
Let's do it. This is a song that you and Mubba did together.
Right.
As a collaboration. Here we go.
Legal assistance. When your phone is being tapped, when your landlord's giving you problems, when you're looking for justice, legal assistance.
What page are you guys on now?
I think the one about your spirit.
I don't really live in Worcester. Only my spirit is here.
Where's your body?
In Snow Ghost Heaven,
Where's your mind?
Kirkstone Pass in the UK,
Where's your soul?
in a bottle of soda.
You know what I think? I think a world without Lemmy would suck.
And one man's success is hope for us all.
You know what they say about Satan? He's a real saint, a real sir, a real sire. He climbs up the stair to see the stars in the air.
You know what they say? Do you know what they say about respect? It becomes a burden after a while.
Let's make it happen.
Let's live the dream.
That's what I do all the day long. No, I don't smoke. If I was to smoke something, it would be the flame that keeps heavy metal alive.
There's two things that people haven't figured out about me. One, I'm original. Two, I speak British fluently. I'm sober, I don't do drugs, I don't smoke. And three, I construct a sentence about metal.
That's fantastic. Cindy, what do you think?
I think this is great. What made you decide to do words of wisdom instead of a joke book this time?
I just want to keep something fresh, and kind of like do something, kind of like see if I can break because I'm always like looking to cover new ground here in my territories and kind of do something a little bit different, and to just kind of like to blow people's hair back. And for those who don't have any hair, just we have to wear a wig and feel the full effect, and just watch the show.
I wanted to ask both of you guys about your lives on the road. Because Bruce has spent a big chunk of his life on the road. Cindy, you spent a good chunk of 2007 on the road.
A good chunk of January.
A good chunk of January on the road. Well, in terms of miles traveled, you spent a good chunk of your total miles traveled for the year on the road, right?
I guess. Where did you go when you were on the road?
Oh, parts of the world with different parts of the world.
What was your favorite part?
Yeah, I like different parts of like Europe, like Germany and France and things like that, and like the Swedish countryside and Finland and things like that.
What is it that you like about Finland?
Yeah, it's kind of like a lot of it's kind of like Sweden almost, I guess. Because I mean, it's if you don't like understand like Swedish or like Finnish, all the towns and all the names of the streets are like written on the top of Finnish, and underneath is like written in Swedish. But it's like an isolated country in Europe, and very dry, cold.
I wanted to ask both of you guys about your lives in rock and roll. Cindy, what's your history in rock and roll?
My history in rock and roll. I started playing bass in the 8th grade.
Okay.
And I had a band in 8th grade. We did pretty much all cover songs.
Okay.
And we used to play in my friend's basement, and then one summer we played every day in my friend's apartment for like 4 or 5 hours every day.
When you were in 8th grade?
It was the summer after 8th grade, yeah.
Okay.
It was really weird. We were really driven to cover Nirvana songs really well.
Was this before or after the death of Kurt Cobain?
This was after.
Okay.
And then I played bass a little bit after that, but I got really consumed with school and I didn't have as much time anymore. But I started playing again in college later. I had a band in college, and we only played a few shows. Mostly we just messed around in the house that I lived in. And, but then when I came to Worcester, I joined this band that there was a vacancy for a bass player. So
This is your band, Frenching Action?
yes. Right now we're on hiatus because various members are all over. The singer is on the ocean right now. Kelly is on a boat in the Atlantic, and the drummer, Dan, is in Florida.
Okay.
But later on in the summer we might try to do something.
Have a reunion tour.
Or at least play a show in Worcester, maybe.
And you guys had a big southern tour before you broke up, though.
Yep, we did. In January we went to Florida, and we went to Mississippi and Louisiana and North Carolina and Tennessee and then Georgia and then back up to Worcester.
That sounds very... I always have a dream about going on a tour like that. You know, just getting together with a bunch of friends in an old van. And
We actually did a not very punk rock thing and rented a minivan.
Is it renting or the minivan that's not punk rock?
I think maybe both, but
Is the Econoline more punk rock? Old Chevy, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think having that fear of breaking down the whole time would have made things a little bit more edgy. But we had our shiny new Town and Country minivan.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was good.
Sweet. And you, actually, before you guys went on the tour, you played a show with Bruce at the Hotel Vernon in Worcester.
Yep, and we played with The Body and Tiny Hawks. What did you think of those bands?
Very good. It just like blew my mind, especially the last one. And
What was the experience like of listening to? Because you were like the opening act.
right.
You went up there and you rocked the crowd, basically. I wasn't there, but this is what I've heard. You
Right.
basically went there
It's
and
true.
rocked the crowd.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, what was the experience of watching the bands like?
It's, I just felt the energy from the other bands and stuff, and it was the first when Cindy's band was playing up there. I was kind of like squashing between people and stuff. But after the last band played, I was kind of more in the back because they had to set all their stuff on the floor as opposed to the stage because they had so much equipment and stuff.
Yeah, do you remember how much stuff they had?
Yeah.
They're so loud.
And I can just remember, I can still feel the goosebumps. There was so much wind come up his arms. I can just feel the hair going up on my arms, and it was just like, phew.
Incredible.
Pull your hair
Unstoppable.
back.
Yeah.
So how did you start out in the rock and roll world?
I was about 10 years old in grammar school, and I kind of like went to the music class and just kind of like really fool around on a guitar. And then it's like I went back to my house and it's like I was trying to ask my mom and dad for like the guitar, and they really kind of figured out, well, you have the talent, you can play, and I basically learned how to play myself just by writing my first song. And what I wrote, not only then I went to this school, childhood friend of mine at the time, and this was before like started the Black Death, and then it's like I didn't realize, and something came to my mind that I had this childhood friend of mine. He was a drummer, and I didn't know he played drums at the time. And I was like 12 years old. I said, let's start thinking about putting a band somewhere between 11 and 12. I had this idea about putting this band together, which was the Black Death basically. And before the Black Death business came out, the band was called the Light Bearer, which was playing a lot of original stuff. And this is like being in an industrial town and things. They were just like, it's time to come out with something about the Black Death, because of Black Death, I heard so much about the Black Death and the plague and all these like things like that. And it's like, this is what a great name for a heavy metal band. And it's like,
And that was sort of how you began rocking out.
yeah, and just like I had the other kid across the street who was a guitar player, and he's like, after the Black Death formed, I was like 12 years old, and we got booked to do this like a regional UK tour.
When you were 12?
Yeah. Then it was like what we did, and after that there was so much like popularity. We kind of went to Europe, and it was like, we basically got our first small record deal by the time I was like 14. The rest of them were like a few months older than me. And then the original guitar player kind of like left him. Then my half brother joined. I asked my step brother about playing bass for the band, and we just got another guitar player, and we just kept on going ever since like '96. So I just kind of kept things under the wrap with other people and stuff, and that's my experience of it.
Well, thank you for telling us this story. I think it's the time of the show to give the guest a present from our sponsor. Happy birthday, Mike Leslie.
This is a great creature. I actually have a smaller version with, I think, 3 eyes.
Oh, it's really cool. Whenever we told Jacob you were going to be on the show, he said, "This is the gift that I want her to have from the store." So there you go.
Well, now the one that I have has a companion.
Fantastic.
First, there was a snow ghost on top of a silver mountain. Now that ghost is your community host. A snow ghost wants to get the most out of you. 'Cause a better world begins with you.